now we come to that issue that seems to keep coming up. How do you deal with the socks on the floor? Anyone ever hear that question before? No. Okay, but I'm going to make it a little bit more clear because it's getting boring. Socks on the floor, I get it. Yeah, but the husband don't, the lady, okay, but fine. Okay, let's assume many marriages have one of those issues. I call it a socks on the floor issue. It's a kind of issue that really is obnoxious, it's annoying, it's bothersome, but it likely ain't going to change. So how do you deal with it? So I mentioned this before, but I want to repeat it because it's a very, very important situation. I was speaking at a Shabbaton, and a fellow comes over me and says, Rabbi, here's my problem. My wife is overweight. I offered her a personal trainer. I offered her all kinds of diet classes, all kinds of nutrition classes, anything she wanted, and she just doesn't care. And it's very hard on me. I'm a doctor. I work in a hospital. These nurses are pretty, they're young, they're attractive, and my wife just doesn't care. What can I do? Now, for the record, his wife, who was also there, was not like some obese. She was, okay, you know, she had 3 kids, and you know, but she wasn't. And she was an attractive woman. It's fine. So, what do I do? What do I do about it? Okay. So here's the first point. How does he make that request to his wife? So, gentlemen, let me make this very clear. If your wife asks you, how does she look? What is the answer? Wow, you look great. You look beautiful. If you say anything else other than that, you're a fool. A fool. Why? Because believe it or not, it's important to women how they look. And if she's asking you that question, you had better have the right answer, which is beautiful. And don't go telling her, well, you know, you're pretty, but your sister's much prettier. Oh, man, are you stupid? What are you thinking? If a woman thinks that she's cherished in her husband's eyes, if a woman thinks that to her husband she's beautiful, that's 90% of Shalom Bayis problems. If a woman feels my husband, you know, thinks I'm not so attractive and he's looking at other women, oh man, you're in big trouble. So number one, make sure, I try to explain to this guy, that you never give your wife the impression that she's not attractive to you. And by the way, gentlemen, this one I'm going to go on record as saying, if you say, well, my wife isn't beautiful, Chazal tell us, Chein isha be'enei baila. There's a special chein that Hashem puts of a woman into a husband's eyes, says Rashi, afilu hi mechoeres, even if she's ugly. Even if objectively people would say she's not attractive at all, to her husband she's beautiful. And the Sefer Chinuch explains, you know what Shana Rishon is really about? Look in the Sefer Chinuch, he says, it's about training yourself that this is a woman and no one else is a woman. Training yourself that this is the way a woman eats, this is the way a woman walks, this is the way a woman does things. You're training yourself that this is a woman and no one else is. And provided you keep your eyes where they're supposed to be, and provided you work on this, you'll find your wife beautiful. And gentlemen, as a suggestion, I think it is a wise man who has a picture of his wife with him wherever he goes, on your phone, in your wallet, because it is a rough world out there. And if you want to train yourself to have eyes for your wife and not for other people, keep a picture on your phone, keep a picture in your wallet, use it as a tool, use it as something that you're going to use so that you're not pulled away, and let your wife know about it. Let your wife know that her picture is on your phone right there. I'm not pulling out my phone, but I'm telling you it's there. Yep, right there. And my wife was so embarrassed with me. Because why? When a woman knows that you find her beautiful, that's huge, have her picture, let her know it. Okay, now, in any case, I made sure that this fellow knows that he better not ever get the idea to his wife that he does not find her attractive. But I said, you sit down with your wife and you do the following. Listen, I want you to know I love you. You're great. You take care of the kids, and what you do for us is amazing and astonishing. But I'm at work. There are a lot of young women there. They're very attractive. I only want to have eyes for you. I only want to have eyes for you, and I don't want to look at other women, but it's a lot easier if you're thinner, and it's not so easy for me if you're a little overweight. You say that one time, and you say, if you can, I'll support you. I'll provide the money for the personal trainer, for the nutrition class, whatever it is. And if not, I understand, and then you're quiet and you walk away. And you give your wife 1 month, 30 days. 30 days, you don't say a word. You don't open a mouth. You don't utter a single thing. After 30 days of silence, but it's from the last utterance about this issue. And if you nag in between, it's another 30 days later. But assuming that you're silent for 30 days, you get a second shot to sit down with your wife at a good time when things aren't troubled, when things aren't, it's a tumult, and you sit down and you begin by saying how valuable she is to you, how precious she is to you, how much you appreciate what she does for you, and I only want to have eyes for you and no one else. But this is an issue, this is a problem. If you can't, I understand, but if you can, it's great. And then you shut up. And you don't say another word for 30 more days. And you get one more shot. And that's it. The third time, you're done. You're done. You do not nag, you do not hag, you do not harangue, you do not bother, you do not leave pictures of, Slim Fast and all kinds of new diet things on the... You shut your mouth and understand that change is difficult. And it could well be my wife will change, it could be she won't, but I'm going to embrace whatever choice she's able to do. And this is such a yesod on both sides of mechitza that it's incredible. Because there are many, many things that your spouse does that bother you. And it's just the way of nature. And there are many, many things that you're going to have to embrace. You have every right to express, you have every right to be open, you have every right to tell your spouse what you need, why it should be, but do it with wisdom. After 3 times of sitting down like a mensch with your wife and explaining to her what it means to you and why it's important, I guarantee she gets it. And if she's not going on that diet, it's because there's just too much going on in her life right then. Give her another 6 months, maybe a year, but right now it's not going to happen. And unfortunately, if you don't learn this lesson and instead you hag and you nag and you bother and you're going to not get a skin of your wife, you're just going to get a lot of shalom bayis problems. So rule number 1 in communication is that you are a best friend and you're understanding some things will go your way, some things won't go your way. Little requests, you proceed with the words, what do you think about it? Big requests, you sit down and you express what you need, why it's important to you, and then you recognize it might work, it might not work. Okay, now one word that's very important also, ladies. When the Beis Hamikdash was destroyed, Nevuah ended. Prophecy ended with the termination of the Second Temple era. Why do I say that? Because women have this sort of sense that their husband should intuit many things. Now I want you to understand something. Your husband is not a Navi. Nope, he's not a prophet. He does not get it. And I guarantee there are many, many things that you'll be astounded at what he doesn't get. A husband and a wife are looking at the living room. In the living room is a newspaper on the floor, kind of some of the pages splattered out back and forth. To the husband, it's a clean living room with a newspaper. Just pick up the newspaper, it'll be fine, right? To the wife, the place is a pigsty. It's disgusting. I'm so embarrassed. Now they're looking at the exact same scenario, but they're seeing very, very different things. Would you like to know when that woman was in the kitchen cooking and her husband was on the couch, was he a callous creep? Was he a louse? No, he happens to be a nice guy. I know him. You know why he was sitting there reading? Believe it or not, ladies, listen to what I'm saying. He didn't get it. What do you mean he didn't get it? Oh, my girlfriends would get it. Oh, my sister would know. Everybody would know that I'm sitting here slaving, the kids are ripping it off. How could he not get it? He's a guy. He's sitting there doing his thing. He had a long day at work. He sat down on the couch, and he's tired. And he doesn't get it. And so many times you assume that your spouse, my wife didn't pick up the dry cleaning, and she knows I have a big meeting tomorrow. How could she do this to me? She didn't know. So here's the point. The second rule of communication is you have to communicate. You have to communicate means your husband doesn't have nevuah, your wife doesn't know everything, and you got to be very open and candid. Okay.